Hello, everybody. Hi. I'm very excited to be here with Mark. Hi, Mark. Good to see you.
Hi. Hi.
Hi, everyone. This is fifth episode of the fifth season of this Messy Desk show I've been doing, and I'm very excited to welcome Mark Wilson, who is an excellent guitarist based in the Pacific Northwest, and I've known actually Mark for a while, so short history. Mark was teaching at the very first guitar festival I ever went to in Calgary, Alberta, and so him and I have quite a long history together. Yvonne says, hello, Mike and Mark. Hi, Yvonne. Ivan, nice to have you here.
Hi, Yvonne.
He was a former guest of the show not too long ago, actually, from Singapore. Anyhow.
Oh, Yvonne the Horrible.
Yes.
Yvonne is, I know.
Yes,
Hi.
on Instagram. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yvonne is horrible on Instagram. Yes. Yes. Anyhow. Yeah. So I'm really excited to have Mark here.
That's a great handle.
Yeah. And anyone who has questions, please put them. We're going to talk about his new project, Midnight Confessions. Mark, could you move a little to the left? Your head's getting cut off.
Yep. Sorry.
There we go. No worries.
Over this.
Yeah, that's perfect. And Ivan says, guilty as charged. Guilty as charged. Horrible as charged. Anyhow, so Mark, before we get off on a tangent about Instagram names, can you tell people a little bit about you, who you are, what you do?
So I'm based out of Seattle, Washington. I have a guitar orchestra of Seattle that I've
Nice.
had for how many years? 21 years. And what else? I'm cathedral guitarist at St. James Cathedral,
Nice.
and I teach privately and perform. And we're going to talk about my latest project, which is a project called Midnight Confessions, which is an exploration of creating a musical reflection of the day's events.
And
And
literally
I've
the
been
day's events, because you do one every
uh,
day. So
I do one every day. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's amazing.
For the last
Um,
260 days.
nice. I have to say, I think cathedral guitarist is maybe the coolest title I've ever heard anyone have. Um, I wish that I could be a cathedral guitarist. That sounds like a great job description. So I'm a little jealous. Um, but
I'm very
yeah,
grateful.
you did miss one thing. You also compose, because I remember we played your composition. I
I
think one of your compositions was probably the first thing I ever played in a guitar orchestra or large guitar ensemble.
Oh,
Um,
Michael, I'm sorry.
no, no, it was good. It was good. It wasn't bad. Yeah, I remember those were fun rehearsals. I mean, I don't know if you were having fun trying to get us all to sync together,
I
like
was
all.
having the best time of my life.
Okay,
Oh my
okay,
God. I love that
good.
so much.
Yeah, that was
Best
great.
ever.
Yeah.
Those
Um,
were good days.
before we get to the Midnight Confessions thing, I do
Guitar
have to.
Fest West.
Guitar Fest West, yeah, and actually it's happening again this year. I'm gonna be in the competition again, and Brett and Emma are doing a great job organizing it. So yeah,
Right on.
yeah. And before we get to the Midnight Confessions thing, I have to ask you our obligatory show question, which is, how do you define classical guitar?
Oh, great question. Okay. So my latest thinking on this has been I have to admit, somewhat shaped by Stephen Goss's article
Hmm.
about the politics of nostalgia. I think it's a really good discussion that he's created on where the classical guitar is, and also wonderfully how it's relevant to the rise of nationalism and the alt right, and so to kind of distill a little bit what he's saying, I do agree that the term classical guitar, it feels like it's becoming a little bit anachronistic, a little bit kind of out of touch with where the classical guitar is
Mm-hmm.
from what we're saying. So, and I think it's important that as artists we really take into consideration what is going on around us and how are we connecting with what's going on around us, instead of saying, like, this is the absolute best
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just going to do what I think the best or something like that. So classical guitar is historical guitar that I would say started around 1780 with the six-string guitar, and is an example of one of the first touring artist kind of thing, where an artist could make a living selling tickets, and so that's kind of an interesting thing. That's just dealing with the money side of it. So it's not really I think crucial to the identity, but I think it's an interesting part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Classical guitar is, and I think fundamentally shaped by Andre Segovia in the 20th century, and that it is basically this kind of trying to distance itself from its folk and origins, which is where we run into some problems now, because I feel like today's aesthetics are very hodgepodge. Just like people listen to rap, classical music, sonakas, punk, and everything. And the idea of saying that there's this on a pedestal, like there's Mauro Giuliani, and that's
Yeah, I
and that's
mean,
the that's the top.
and also, if you're trying to, if Segovia was trying to distance it from folk and rock, like other areas that the guitar inhabited, right? But at the same time, now
Yeah.
a lot of the music we play now by young composers or by sort of contemporary composers for classical guitar are drawing on folk idioms like half the time, if not more, right? So it's kind of weird to think of it as taking the guitar out of the folk realm and into like sort of higher art realm, when a lot of the music we play now written for the instrument is based on folk songs or folk melodies, or popular songs and popular melodies. I mean, you look at composers like Brian Johansson or Michael Nicolella, or people in your sphere in the Pacific Northwest, like leading composers of classical guitar in America, and they're drawing on pop and rock music also. So
Exactly.
you know, it just becomes I think it's a bit ludicrous to define it by genre or by source of music. It makes more sense to define it from a technical, physical way of playing standpoint, maybe. But even then, it doesn't really quite work as a term. So, yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, if you go all the way back to the Mass by Michaud, I mean, he's got, you know, the transition from the Middle Ages into the Renaissance. You've got pop songs that are taken and then expanded, augmented, you know. So instead of it being, you know, 16th notes or eighth notes, they put them into half notes and turn it into a plain chant, and then put a plain chant against it. And I mean, so all the way back in 800, 900, you have pop music infusing into high art music, if you will. And yeah, and I think that and you know, you look at you know, Baroque dances, you know, those were kind of street music. The beret was kind of a, you know, dancing in the dirt thing before it became the court thing. I love the saraband, the story of the saraband. When that first came over at the in the Spanish court, it was a faster dance, and the church came down really hard on it, and because the dance was so fast that women's skirts were going up and you could see their ankles, so the church just kind of came unglued and forbid the dance, and then it moved north and slowed.
Gotta watch out for those ankles, cause you to stumble, you know. My God. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I was also thinking about this idea that this sort of the false narrative of this delineation between high art and low art or whatever, in the sense of how various genres now are sort of mixing and matching more, maybe for better or worse, and sort of borrowing from each other, even in like film scores. And I've noticed in video game music in the last 10, 15 years, how many more scores now for games. Like when I was growing up in the 90s, sort of like cutting edge RPG video games, like Japanese RPG video games, were relying mostly on orchestral textures, which was wonderful. So much of that music is amazing, and is part of the reason I fell in love with orchestral music, was from playing video games as a kid. And now you play some of the games by the same companies in the same series, and there's a lot more like electric guitar and like drums and electronic elements, and it's sort of this more of this mix. And I feel like composers in those spaces and in the film space too, this could just be totally anecdotal and not true, but it seems to me that more composers are drawing on more and more different elements, much like in contemporary music, right? I mean, now we have a lot more music for electric guitar, which is written from a classical standpoint, right? So
right.
As all these things happen, it's like, where does the classical guitar fit into that? Does it even make sense? I mean, I feel like I prefer to refer myself as a guitarist, even though that's not very precise. But my training is classical. So anyways, it's a problematic thing.
Yeah, it really is. And just shout out to the 21st Century Guitar Festival that we were at back in March.
Right.
I mean, what a fantastic example of the blending of electric guitar and classical guitar, of kind of, you know, experimental, you know, I hope I'm not sounding pejorative saying this, but like, you know, kind of
cutting
noise
edge,
music
or
blending in with, just a I was so inspired and heartened by that festival. Just really, and just a closing point, or maybe just another point. You know, we don't have to close this, but you know, genre is so often so necessary for marketing, and,
right?
And people want to be told what they're going to like, so then they're like, oh well, this is the new thing, this is this genre, and then people will go, oh, I want to be a part of the new thing, when I think artists are like, you know, this is country, western, rap, punk, Sinakis or something, you know. It's like, I am not going to be pigeonholed. I'm trying to explore a lot of things, and I think that's what makes things so interesting is the blending of things.
Yeah, it's also a product of technology advancing. I mean, like, I, through the pandemic, could download and pay for cheap plugins that produce amazing sounding programmed drums and great sounding guitar sounds just from plugging my guitar straight into my computer, you know? Whereas in the past, I would have to go to a shop, get an amp, get a bunch of effects pedals, set them up in my house, make sure the neighbors aren't going to come over and kill me, and record it, you know? Like,
Right, right,
so
yeah,
so it's like it's also a product of, like, and I think that's why in films and game music maybe more composers are exploring other sounds too, because they have access to these software, you know, shortcuts and ways of recording things, and the musicians they're hiring can record things easier. So it's also technology, I think, is pushing
yeah,
us to blend things more, um,
yeah.
which is good, but confuses everybody in the process, right? So anyways, why don't we move on to addressing the topic of the show. So your new project. So you started this like a year ago, basically, right? The Midnight Confessions.
Well, it really kind of it percolated for a while and then just kind of exploded. Probably the first one that I think the first one that I did was June 24th, and there was just so much going on that was just uh, really a lot to process, and it so actually I can't it's just to tie back into technology and how things are changing. Um, I feel like we're in another unprecedented rate of change with technology, and it's interesting how it is affecting culture.
Mm-hmm.
And so this last summer, George Floyd was murdered on Memorial Day weekend, and technology was abundant and used to record his murder.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of hard to talk about. But millions of people watched a man murdered because somebody had a phone that had a recording device on it,
Mm-hmm.
and it sparked protests across the country, and it really kind of reaffirmed what a lot of people already were saying about racism in this country, and it opened up the door for other people to maybe acknowledge the degree of racism in this country, and police brutality, and so that was kind of a starting point of me thinking about race in this country, but also historically, what do we have with race in this country? So 100 years ago, um, on the technology side, around 19, I don't know, 10, 15, 20, we start to get radio, we get records, and with the birth of radio and records, we have a fundamental shift in the way that music is being used.
Mm-hmm.
It's no longer something that you have to create yourself. You can just turn on the box and listen, and you can consume these records, like the race records of Ma Rainey, Bessie Smith, the classic blues singers, which were again another radical fundamental shift in this country. And if you ever want to read a great book called The Warmth of Other Suns, it's by Isabella Wilkerson, and it's about the really the forced migration of American citizens from the Deep South, Black American citizens, to the northern cities because of the drain of workers because of World War One. So the factories were like Ford, all the steel factories, coal plants, were not able to function as well as they could because they didn't have a male workforce. So then blacks in the South were able to hear about a job opportunity. They came north and they were able to start making a good living. And with disposable income came then the ability to cultivate a culture. And we got some of the first race records is what they called. It was black people singing, and it was supposed to be for black people, but it eventually became, really the birth of rock and roll,
Mm-hmm.
and later on. But anyway, so I don't want to get I think I got a little bogged down with details. What I was going to say is that what happened with Midnight Confessions was I was thinking about the race relations in the country 100 years ago, and the advent of technology, and then where we are with the internet. and how we're having another radical change. And I thought, well, what were the musics of the early 20th century? And I think of ragtime, I think blues, hymns, country music.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, what would be a 21st century rag or blues or hymn? And I began trying to create these things. And slowly they emerged in improvisations, and then started working them out and writing them out, and that's basically kind of the beginning of Midnight Confessions. Are these kinds of pieces that are these Frankenstein, ragtime of Thelonious Monk meets Dmitri Shostakovich and Giuliani with I don't know, with maybe a little Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Yeah, what I like about them too, from the ones I've seen, is that it seems like every time when you approach them, you're just acting spontaneously on responding to your day or what you've been processing recently. I mean, I don't know how some of them are probably thought out a little more than others, right, in terms of what you choose to play, but some of them seem very spontaneous, and I just like that you've used it as it's kind of like Mark's vlog, which fits with the technology theme of like how technology has changed the way we do music and we do media, because that is what the internet has turned us into, is like sort of you put your life online every day, we do that now. And so this is oddly appropriate for that change, is that you're putting your musical life online in a way that a lot of people don't, because most of us, when we put out a new recording, we make it as polished as possible, and we spend a week or two preparing it, and we have this whole like planned out, very methodical, systematic approach. And so a lot of these, you're just kind of sitting in front of the camera and saying like, this is my day, it's midnight, this is what I'm putting out there. I think it's kind of a refreshing approach. It's cool. So, but also that you're using it to respond to, the social issues and the political issues and the things that you're processing and that the country you're in is processing as well, is, also like makes it relevant to the day. So that's really cool. Maybe we should probably listen to one now so people can experience a Midnight Confession.
Okay.
one of the first ones I pulled up was the number 4, the Midnight Blues. Is this a good starting point, do you think?
Oh, yeah. I can't even remember what it is. I'm sorry.
I think okay.
I think it is.
The video description said like here, let me see. Midnight Blues. I think it said something like I'm trying to remember. Let me mute the site here. It was something about the state midnight. Here, this is the title. What you put in the video description is Midnight Blues during COVID with Trump. It's a very succinct summary. So, but I don't even know what blues you're playing here. We'll listen to it now. People can listen to it, and then we'll come back and talk about it. So, okay, let's hear some Midnight Blues here.
Well, I
Nice.
just kind of let fade it out.
Very cool. Yeah, people were everyone missed our like banter over the song while we were listening, but that was
Yeah.
great. Wonderful. I was saying it has a Chaconne like sort of baroque bass line, this repeated, yeah.
Yeah, I can't get rid of Vice. Vice is in almost everything I do.
Yeah.
Sylvius Leopold Vice, the Baroque lutenist.
Yeah. Cool. So that was your spontaneous improvised blues during COVID. The beginning of COVID, I guess. This is when
Yeah,
when the sort of reality of lockdown was probably hitting you, along with all the political stuff.
pretty hard. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was very hot in the summer. There was a lot going on. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I mean, it's also kind of brutal, especially if you were in America at the time, because there's all this crazy stuff going on in your country, and then you're stuck inside with just the internet to keep you company. I mean, it's hard not to go crazy in that
What a
situation,
thing to keep you company too.
Yeah. Sorry.
What a thing to keep you
Yeah,
company.
exactly. That's what I mean,
What
because
this QAnon stuff is.
a thing that is designed a thing that is designed by algorithmically to give you the news that will outrage you the most. Um,
Exactly.
that's yeah, or upset you the most. Yeah, that's probably good for your mental health. Well, but I mean, but it's also it's nice that you turn to music to respond to that, because that's probably a healthier way to respond to it than to argue with someone online, right? Is to produce some art with it. So
Yeah, I mean, I think another thing that I'm trying to address with Midnight Confessions is that art is my job, art is my work. So my job is to produce
mm,
something that is, I hope, going to offer catharsis or make the world a little lighter or more beautiful or something. And so I feel, and it's a funny thing because I feel, yeah. So uh, the Midnight Confessions is also it's I hesitate to say this. I don't want to rock the
no.
boat too much, but it's almost anti-classical
Mm-hmm.
in that it's so kind of spontaneous. It's like this is the moment, and it's become more so like with the video that opened. I mean, I just put some new strings on, and I was super happy about them, but and I was playing on my front porch and just recording there. I just taught a lesson, and I biked home, and I shot the video when I was biking home. Just was I thought this would be a good visual experience. Um, but part of the fundamental identity of maybe that video is I think as important as my guitar playing is actually the overheard conversation of my neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
It's the neighbor from across the street with the neighbor next door, and two grown men, that were just connecting, and it's not that you could understand what they were saying, but it's you could hear the tone of their voice and
Mm-hmm.
that people were connecting. And to me, that was a subtle and fundamental part of what I think made that day's expression, valuable.
Mm-hmm.
That even with lockdown, we can connect with people,
Mm-hmm.
and even for a moment, just out in the front porch, and how redeeming it is, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, I love that. That's
so
what I
it's
loved. I loved about that video, the combination of the bike footage and that piece, the Graham Cohen piece, which is so gorgeous, just so simple and gorgeous, and then the conversation. It's just kind of magical, and I think that's what I also love about these videos too. Is that yeah, they're spontaneous. Some of them are maybe a little hit and miss with certain elements of the execution, because you're doing it in the moment, out of nowhere, often
yeah,
improvised. But like sometimes when you do stuff like that, the elements come together in a way that is just kind of, it wouldn't happen if you planned it out.
yeah, yeah.
And that's so cool. That's really special. Um,
Thank
I had something else I was gonna say, but it totally. Oh, about the anti-classical thing. First of all, you can rock the boat as much
Yeah,
as you want, because this is the messy desk, so it's all about making a mess. I don't have to clean up the mess; I just make it. Um,
yeah, right.
and I've had many different guests with many different points of view. That's okay, So just say whatever you think. But also, it's funny that you say like improvising and this sort of spontaneity is anti-classical, because so many of the musicians in our historical canon that we look up to, like Bach, were not that way, right? And so it's odd to
Right.
me sometimes that like in conservatories, which the whole name conservatory is kind of the antithesis of what you're doing, maybe, in some ways. But like, not that conserving things is bad. Conserving things can be good, but
No.
but like,
things to conserve that are wonderful. Vice.
yeah, exactly. Vice is great to conserve, but like, it's just funny that we think of that spontaneity or that improvisation as anti-classical, when there's so many examples of musicians, even musicians, like if you think about classical guitar, like Brouwer, who are obviously thinking in a very improvisatory, very playful way, very spontaneous way, with the way he writes music. And so, yeah. Anyhow, it's just interesting that that's considered anti-classical in some way. It's odd, but anyhow. Yeah. Shall we listen to another one? The second one I picked was this Hildegard von Bingen, which I thought was super cool. Odo
that's a funny one.
Virtutum. So this is an arrangement you made? Or?
Odo Virtutum. Well, everything with the medieval music is going to be kind of an arrangement at one point or another, because what was going on. And so being at St. James Cathedral, I've had the opportunity to hear really amazing singers and music directors do this piece, which this piece is insane. It's got Satan in it.
Ooh,
like
nice.
Satan actually has a role in this piece, and he shows up in the cathedral, and St. James, the performances that I've seen at St. James, they've had a lot of fun with Satan and all that. But so this, just in a nutshell, this is I don't know if I'll just go ahead and say I have what is it? Sustained envy, really. And so with the classical guitar, it's just, you play the note, it dies. So what I did was I brought the electric guitar in on this, and then I just kind of created this this texture of a drone, and then I played the melody from the plain chant. So I was reading plain chant. And then I put it together. It was Hildegard von Bingen's birthday, and I think it was Ruth Bader Ginsburg's birthday.
Yeah, too. I put in the notes RBG, because you were connecting two very badass women in one thing.
Through time, and this is another little thing I want to address with Midnight Confessions, is just this, how is classical music relevant to today? And I think, oh my God, Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Hildegard, there's a heaven. They're having a great conversation, and there's so much that has been done in the name of good that we can draw upon from a deep reservoir, and so much in the name of bad that we need to be aware of, so we don't let it grow. And I feel like, it's life is very rich and long, and if we are open to it, I think.
For sure. And what does Ordo Virtutum actually mean, the title?
Oh my gosh, the Order of Virtues, I think.
Which is why Satan would appear.
Yeah, and I should know this a lot better. Hildegard was a pretty amazing philosopher, poet, composer, theologian, and all of those are wrapped into one very tight, organic thing. So it's all one. It's the music is about God, the God is about the poetry, the whole thing.
Back then it was much more common to sort of be a philosopher and a musician, and like it seems to me in the medieval period, things were if you were a person of learning, I guess it was harder to be a person of learning because you had to be even more privileged to learn those kind of things than you do now. So yeah, maybe that's part of it, but yeah. Anyhow, interesting. Okay, so I love that you include some electric guitar in these Midnight Confessions also, because the pandemic has been a time for me to go on a bit of a sojourn of rediscovering electric guitar playing and starting to do it more. And yeah, the sustain thing, like there's some stuff that just the classical guitar cannot do as well as the electric guitar. Obviously there's all these reasons that I primarily play classical guitar and why I love the sound and the direct control over color and all that, but stuff, I don't know, like executing slurs easily, my God, it's so nice on an electric guitar. How easy it is to do slurs, and then the sustain. Anyhow, I understand why you made the choice you did, let's say, with this. So Okay, let's listen to Ordo Virtutum, arranged and performed by Mark Wilson. Wonderful. Very cool.
Thank you.
Nice
you.
job. By the way, I see the viewers in the chat. You all should ask some questions because I would like to get viewer questions for Mark since I can't be the only one to ask here. But anyhow, that was very special. And you were playing electric guitar on top of the electric guitar, right? Like yeah.
I was, yeah. So I have a vibrating thing, an EBO, I think.
EBO,
is what it's
nice.
called.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I just created these kinds of drones behind it, and then I, how did I do that? And then I think I went into either iMovie. Yeah, I think I wasn't working with. I don't think I was working with Logic. Maybe I was working with Logic, but I just laid that down, and then I played through the melody and thought, well, I can do this, and then I added a little bit of chords. So I mean, it doesn't sound medieval really so much. I like I was saying, I feel like it's almost kind of like the Doors, but
yeah,
the Doors meet Hildegard.
Nice. That's a crossover I wouldn't have expected to see.
Break on through until Hildegard.
Yeah. Ricardo Saib says, nice sonority, sounded like a sitar. Really cool. Yeah, for sure. It had kind of that sitar-like texture. Yeah. Awesome. Very cool. I mean, okay, here we're at a bit of a crossroads, Mark. Do you want to continue? I mean, we have so many of these to look at, and they're so cool. Or do you want to do your listening test? How do you feel about the repertoire listening test thing?
Oh, I think I'm going to totally bomb this, but yeah, let's do the listening.
Let's do the listening test. Okay. I don't think you're going to bomb it. We'll see here, but I really don't think so. I mean, we'll see. Okay. So, I didn't separate these out into proper categories of beginner, intermediate, advanced. Just for people listening, what we're doing here is I'm going to play some recordings of guitar music, and Mark is going to try to guess the piece, composer, and or player. So there's a possible 3 points per. Nice. So first one we're going to start with is this.
Takamitsu. This is the second movement, I think.
First movement, but you're correct. Takamitsu towards the sea. Yes, very good. No, I thought this would be an easy starting one. And who's the player? Do you want to hear some more?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, you know what? I should have listened to so many more people playing this.
I can give you some hints.
Ooh,
Here, listen to a little more and I'll give you some hints. Okay, my hint is
oh,
it's
Shinichi Fukada?
not Fukada. This is a English guitarist, a very very famous
Oh,
English guitarist,
uh, oh my goodness.
known for
Okay,
playing
hold on.
what we used to call world music. Also,
Really? John Williams?
yeah,
Wow.
he
I didn't know he recorded this.
really. Oh, it's on Sony. Yeah,
How about that? Oh, of course, yeah. Of
yeah,
course he should record it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Fantastic.
yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't know that. He's a flute player.
Yeah, it's with the London. Well, the CD includes some, I guess, concerto music. I guess a Takemitsu concerto. Let me see what else is on here. Actually,
There's a
um,
Takemitsu concerto?
maybe not. Well, it's with the
There
London.
is.
It's with the London Sinfonietta. Maybe not a concerto, but some piece for. Um,
There is. It's all colors or rainbow
there's
of colors.
L'Arc-en-Ciel Palma. Yeah, yeah. There's and also To the Edge of Dream. To the Edge of Dream is with orchestra.
On the Edge of Dream. That's an orchestral piece. That's a
Yeah, yeah,
fantastic piece.
yeah, yeah. So
Oh
there's a
my,
CD.
that's got the
Sounds,
deputy at the end, doesn't it? With nuages or something
yeah,
like that.
yeah, yeah. It does.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah.
Anyhow, well, you aced that one, so 3 out of 3. That was good. Let's do something a little more tricky, maybe.
Is this David Russell playing Granados?
Well, I think this guitarist will be very flattered that you called him David Russell.
Oh wow. Okay.
um,
I just it sounded a little bit like that, kind
yeah,
of.
yeah, it does have a David Russell kind of tone to it for sure. It's not
What,
Granados.
what,
It's a Spanish composer.
and,
Sorry,
yeah, Albanese.
no,
Let me guess.
it's a guitar piece. It's a guitar piece.
Oh my god.
Like it's an arrangement.
It's
It's an arrangement of a folk song, but a guitar arrangement.
what am I thinking? This is the Yobet folk songs,
Yeah, which one?
and
Which one?
um, oh my god, oh my god, how have I played these pieces and I can't remember their names?
Da
This,
da da
no,
dun dun da dee da dee dun da da dee da 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 dee da da.
this is one that I never really felt like I could play well.
It's a hard
Uh,
one. I tried to play it because I thought it sounded nice and simple and pretty, but it's not simple.
they're all hard.
Yeah.
They're all hard. Le Fil de Marche is one of the names that's coming up.
No,
I don't think it's that one. Um,
it's. I'll give you half a point either way because you know what set it's from. But
well, let me try. Let me see if I can figure this.
okay, and how about the guitarist? The guitarist shares my first name. There's a big hint.
Michael Cole? Is he an English or Canadian guitarist? Michael.
Originally Welsh, but I guess could also be considered American by this point, maybe.
Oh my God, that's Partington?
Yeah, it's Michael Partington. Yeah.
God, really? So he's
Yeah.
playing a 19th century guitar, or is that a modern guitar?
No,
That's a modern guitar.
it's on his Por Caminos de Santiago CD.
Oh my God, that's hysterical.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Of course I would include people you know in these recordings. You know.
Oh right. How did I not know that? Oh, I'm embarrassed.
Yeah.
Don't
Well,
tell him
you
that.
called him David Russell, so if he watches this, he'll be
I know.
he'll be flattered. You know. Yeah. The piece is
Oh.
Lo Rossignol.
La Rossignol. Okay.
Yeah. But you got 1.5 points. You got. Yeah. I'll give you
can't even
two, yeah,
recognize
something like that. Okay. Next one.
Oh my God. That's this is da 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 dee da 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 da. Pretty sure it's Louis Milan.
Correct.
And it's this is one of the fantasies.
Nope.
Not one of the Pavans.
No.
No, it's
Pavan.
one of the Pavans.
It's a Pavan. Yeah.
Huh.
Number.
Number 4.
Oh, Ricardo Saeb in the chat has it right. He's coming on the show in a month or two, so he's beating you already, Mark.
I don't know the Pavans well because they're done so much. I haven't really gotten into
Oh,
them.
right. I forgot you were a hipster.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, it's like, I'm looking for things that other people don't do. I mean,
Right, yeah. It's
I don't know. Is it
it's number one.
number one? Oh my God.
Yeah.
You know what? Now that they won, you're right. You know, Murray Vischer. Do you remember Murray Vischer?
Of course. Yeah.
He arranged this for a guitar quartet.
Oh, cool.
And my guitar orchestra did it probably the year before I came up to Calgary.
West. Cool. Nice.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if you know this guitarist though. It's a German guitarist.
Okay, a German guitarist. Let me think of what German
I feel like
guitarist...
I didn't know who this guitarist was before I moved to Europe, so I feel like you may not know, but you can try.
I don't know. Hubert Capel.
No.
Kavanaugh's Canadian. Her husband Thomas is
not Thomas.
Is German.
No, not Thomas.
German guitarist.
Franz.
Hallesch?
Hallesch. Yeah, correct. No, he's.
It is Franz Hallesch.
He's German, as far as I know.
Is he German?
As far as I know, he's
God.
German. I could be wrong.
He's a great player. I love his playing.
Yeah, he's great, and he produces all these great recordings, which are really wonderful too.
Yeah, so, he does.
I think he has his own label or something now. Yeah.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Yeah, that's actually a beautiful recording quality.
Yeah. It's on Spotify, so you can find his.
Okay.
It's on a CD called Spain, so you know. Adrian Wilkins says, "Woo Guitar Orchestra" on YouTube. Hi, Adrian.
Adrian.
Awesome. Okay. Next one.
Oh, I love this. This is shocking too. This is the Prelude, right?
Wow, that was fast. Yep.
That's my favorite piece of classical music.
Oh.
I mean, flat out, I think that's the best thing that is on a classical guitar.
Canada
Takamitsu's amazing. Oh, Jacques too. I met him.
Oh, really? Lucky. Oh, God. I wish I could have.
I met him, and I met Alvaro Pierri, and Alvaro Pierri's phone number, office number, and home number is on the score, because I asked if I could get his autograph or something, or I just said,
sweet.
Oh my God, it was the best festival. 1993 GFA.
Nice.
93 and 95. Yeah.
Such a cool piece.
Yeah.
How about the player? This is a Canadian guitarist. Do you want to hear some more?
Tracy Ann Smith?
Not Tracy Ann Smith. There's a player from Alberta.
Ralph Mayer?
Nope.
From Alberta.
Yeah.
Oh, not Ivan Matos.
Okay, this is just Ileana Matos. This is just cruel at this point, but it's me.
No way! Oh my God!
I'm sorry.
Hey, you sound fantastic.
Thanks.
You sound fantastic.
I didn't record the whole thing, but I just put this on like a little release I put on Spotify. So I was like just testing if you keep up with my Spotify releases, which apparently you don't. So you've got
I don't.
Your homework is to look me up on Spotify, Mark.
I will. I have very, very, I not even really mixed feelings. I have bad feelings about Spotify. I just feel.
No, I have bad feelings about it too. Actually, this ties back. I wanted to say this earlier when you were talking about how technology has changed technology keeps changing how we consume media. It's just a brutal fact at this point that everyone expects to have your artistic product for free. And Spotify is essentially that, because they have this charade of paying people, you know, but they don't really pay you. But if you're not on Spotify, it's like you don't exist essentially, because like a lot of people, they consume 80 or 70% of their music through Spotify alone at this point. Right. So I have the same qualms as you, but I just was like, I give up and I'm just going to put stuff on Spotify. Also, Ivan says Mike is evil. Yes, it's true. I am both mean to Mark by making him try to guess my recording, and also evil because I'm using this as a cynical moment of self-promotion, you know, so.
Ivan is horrible. Mike is evil.
Yeah, exactly. Mark is an angel. I don't know. Yeah.
An angel, right.
Yeah. Anyhow, he says Ivan now says Spotify is more evil. It's true, more evil than me.
Okay.
Objectively, on a sliding scale, I am less worse. Actually, I was talking with my friend Nathan Bredesen earlier today about how the problem with Canada is that we keep getting by on not being as bad as America. which is not really enough. Like, you can't just be not as bad as someone else. You have to actually be good. Anyways, okay, we're gonna listen to another before we get to now Ivan is saying Mark is our confessor. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Cathedral guitarist, right?
Yes, right, exactly.
Okay. Next one.
Oh, this is Brian Johansson with Folia. This is amazing. I love this piece.
Gosh. So
I bet you it's Partington too.
it's not Partington. He has a recording, but I wasn't going to use him twice.
Okay, yeah. No, that's a great piece.
So who is this then playing?
Let's see. I don't know. Elizabeth Brown plays it, and she's from the Northwest.
Not Elizabeth Brown.
Can I hear it again a little bit more?
Yes, I will play a later section of it.
It's funny, I don't know if people have recorded it.
Okay, here, let me see here.
Who would record this? I know Harold McKay, Elizabeth Brown, Michael Partington, and then is it Brian Johansson?
It's Brian Johansson, yeah, playing his own
Brian
composition.
Johansson?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Playing his own music, yeah.
Yeah, he's great. That the Magic Serenade.
It's so much good music, and the new sonata he wrote for Partington recently, that is on his most recent CD.
Yeah.
So cool. Yeah.
The
I'm recording
Preludes.
a few of the preludes for an upcoming CD, and it's just such good music.
Awesome.
Yeah. I know everybody
awesome.
plays the preludes. I should play other stuff, but I like the preludes a lot still.
No, the Preludes are fantastic. They're totally fantastic.
Yeah.
Let them be the Quinn Baba of 2021 or whatever.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to play them again because I played his music during my time at UBC in Vancouver, partly because the guitar festival required it, but also I was already learning it actually before then. But then when I moved here, I realized that people out here, classical guitarists, don't know about his music, which is a shame as much. I mean, I don't want to say that nobody knows about it, but like, I feel like it should be played around the whole world because it's so good.
Yeah.
And it's so good for all levels. He has advanced pieces that are very virtuosic and stuff. And then he has the preludes, which are extremely deep musically, but great for students and also great for professionals who want something a little lighter on their program. And I don't know. It's just, yeah. It's a shame that his music isn't played literally everywhere. Anyhow, next one.
Wow.
Any idea?
Romero Lubaro. It's Brazilian music.
Brazilian composer who lives in BC, I believe.
Oh, Celso Machado.
Yes, correct. Celso Machado.
Yeah, Celso Machado. I don't know the piece. It's a lovely piece.
It's just called Sweet. As far as
It
I
is
know.
sweet.
Yeah.
It's very sweet.
I think it's a play on words for that reason. Yeah. And the guitarist, I didn't know who this guitarist was. I think there's two of them. I think it's Celso and then this guitarist together. Just checking.
I'm trying to think of this guy's name. I think they came into the Rosewood when I first started working there, I bet.
I don't think it's a guy. It's not a guy.
Oh, it's not a guy. Okay.
No. It's it's
is.
also a composer. I guess Celso Machado and this composer collaborated together for this recording.
And not Alan Rayer. It's who is it?
No, it's Christina Azuma.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know who that is,
playing.
but yeah, there's
Oh my God, you should look her up. She's amazing.
Okay, I will. There's a CD. I found this on Spotify because I was looking for Celso Machado. I don't know his music that well, but I was like, I bet you, Mark, will appreciate and know who this is, and I do like his music even though I don't know a ton of it. But there's a CD that I got this from on Spotify called Misterios do Rio Lento, which is Celso Machado and Christina Azuma. So.
Oh, she did one of the best transcriptions that I've heard of the. I think she only did 2 of them, but of the 6 Bulgarian dances by Bartok.
Oh, cool.
All the way back in '95. Oh, it's such a great recording. She's so good.
Awesome.
Yeah. Love her
Okay,
playing.
next
And
one.
his playing. Oh, this is Michael Nicolella. This is his Toccata for Partington, right?
There you go. Yeah, and who's playing it?
Probably Partington.
Nope.
Or is it Nicolella playing his own piece?
playing
It is Nicolella playing his own piece. Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
too easy.
Yeah.
I went too easy on you, Mark. These are all. One last one.
Okay. Ooh. Ooh. Piazzolla.
No, it's a
I was thinking it was
guitarist,
going to go.
composer.
Oh, Roland Diaz.
Mm-mm.
Huh. Okay.
It's a
It's a
piece
guitar
written.
composer.
It's a piece written for a Canadian guitarist.
Oh, is this Nathan Breedson?
Not Nathan Bredesen, although
No.
he'll be flattered that you made that comparison.
It's a Canadian. Is it a Canadian? It's written for a Canadian guitarist.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Ricardo Saeb says Sergio Assad. No, but that's a good guess. Same sort of milieu, I would say.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear a bit more?
I would. Yeah. Well, let me think about it a little bit more. It sounds South American to me.
You're not far off.
I really like it. Let me think. So, it's funny to me. I'm hearing like flavor of Argentina, maybe
Yeah,
Brazil. I don't know.
yeah. One of the
Um,
most famous guitar composers of the 20th and 21st century.
well, Brower,
It's
but
Brouwer. Yes, it's Brouwer.
it is Brower.
Yeah.
Huh? What is this? This is out of his new body of
No,
work
it's
that I'm
it's
hearing.
not a newer piece. It's not a newer piece.
Really? What
Yeah.
is it?
It's
Well, I can't get. Oh,
it's an idea, Passacaglia for Eli Kastner.
oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, he wrote it for Eli
I see.
Kastner, I think in the 80s or 90s, probably.
Did he really? That's
Yeah,
gorgeous.
really cool. And it's a Canadian guitarist
Yeah.
playing it from Alberta, and it's not me.
Ralph Mayer.
Not Ralph Meyer, but you're in the right city.
Um, well, I don't. Let's see. Brett.
It's Brett.
It's
Yeah.
Brett.
Brett Gunther.
It's
Yeah.
Brett.
Yeah.
Because that's the name of his CD is an idea.
Yeah, it's named after this
Right?
piece. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good CD. I
Yeah,
love
it
that
is.
CD.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I'm so inspired now to go listen to some CDs.
Yeah, you should learn this piece too and make a great midnight confession, you know?
Yeah.
It's got the right
Yeah.
vibe.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah, I think it does. Actually, I'm finding that I'm just now focusing on local composers.
Mm.
The last three nights I've done some composers that I know. Nathan Jensen, who's a gentleman that works up at St. John's. He's a music director up there, and my guitar orchestra rehearses there. And we met over 10 years ago or so, and he's written me a couple of pieces. And the guitar orchestra, he wrote an epic, like hour-long piece. It was insane.
Wow,
It's
that's
really
intense.
cool. And so I've been, and then last night it was funny. I did a piece by a gentleman named Philip Quackenbush, who I met in 2014, just after I'd gotten back from one of my first tours of Spain. And one of my colleagues at the Rosewood was saying, "Oh, you should meet this guy. He's written this music, and it'd be really good to play up at St. James." And I ended up meeting him, and I got a book like this big of preludes and fugues in all keys, and they were really nice.
For guitar.
And then yeah, for guitar.
Wow.
And then he came back in the next week, and I was coming out of my lesson. He said, "Hey, I wrote you this piece," and it's this Nova. He calls it Nova Waltz, and what he was exploring was a waltz that's a bossa nova.
Cool.
And yeah, and it's a really charming piece that I feel like kind of captures what Seattle was like when I first moved up here, which was kind of a quirky do-it-yourself kind of handmade
Before it became
place.
completely gentrified.
It's so awful right now. It's just it's yeah, things are so out of balance here, and it's all of my friends are moving. It feels like
Yeah.
because they can't afford to live here.
Yeah,
It's
I mean, I've talked to, won't name names, but multiple graduates of the San Francisco Conservatory who are very good young players, very dedicated artists, very passionate, doing very interesting things, and they're just like not going to stay here because like as much as San Francisco has this reputation of being artsy and being beautiful, and it is, it's like who can afford to live there as an artist? It's just like not possible. So I feel you with the Seattle
probably
thing.
3,500 a month.
Yeah, and I
Oh
feel,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I know multiple guitarist friends in Vancouver too who've had some similar struggles, and because Vancouver has the same
Oh my
problem,
God.
and it's like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's really sad. Beautiful areas that could be great hosts for art, that they become hubs where you import the artist. You know, you import some artist who is
Well,
already super
and
well established,
yeah,
and then that's it. You know.
and to me that's a fundamental like eviscerating of what art is supposed to be doing. And I mean, I know I want to back up and say, oh, wait, but just to follow through with this point,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like cultural identity is the lifeblood of existence. It's we are what we live, what we eat, drink, breathe, talk.
Mm-hmm.
And 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 it's art is so valuable when you can say, oh, obviously that's impressionism that came out of France in the late 1900s, and the late 1800s, early 1900s. It's exploring pantonality and parallelism, and these were ideas that were brought over by a gamelan orchestra. And and life is richer with the wonder that is discovered with the realm of possibility. And when it's like you just and again, kind of like with Spotify, it's kind of like when you have the only people that are getting paid are the people that are producing things that only 25 million people or 100 million people are interested in. you know where do you find diversity in that? Where do you find any
Mm-hmm.
kind of depth of conversation about the human experience when it's only about the mall, the SUV, and fast food, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever? I don't know, but
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I guess my thinking with the like sort of being sad about like Seattle and San Francisco and Vancouver and these places becoming impossible to live in for local like not super rich or famous artists is that I don't have anything against a city bringing in a really famous worldwide known artist to play a concert and enrich their community. What I think is though, like there should art is exists on multiple levels and should exist on a local communal level also. There should be space for
right.
artists who live on a smaller salary to be able to make a living, and in some of those cities it's just becoming less and less possible. um, and on the Spotify thing too, it's like I think that the problem is actually deeper than that because, well, I don't know if I want to say it's a problem. I Maybe this is an unpopular opinion, but I feel like because of how technology makes creating high quality content easier for everybody, and easier to disseminate, it's almost like Pandora's box, and we can't really turn the clock back in the sense that high quality stuff that people produce that nobody's going to pay for because everyone expects it for free is kind of the norm now. So I think it's kind of a
Right.
harsh reality of we have to monetize art in other ways, which is why people do Patreon and people do they make, I mean, I think even for the top of the top, it's hard to make money outside of performing and teaching now in terms of CD sales and stuff, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, or streaming obviously is difficult unless, like you said, you have 25 million streams or something.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not that simple either because of course you always have dedicated fans who will buy a CD and pay good money for it at a concert, or if not a CD, they might donate to your latest CD production through Patreon or something. But yeah,
Right, right. Yeah, I do feel like we've got unprecedented opportunity to present, not only in terms of content, but in
but
avenues or methods to, you
the
know.
flip side of that though is that everybody's producing high quality content for a low price because they can access the technology to do so, and there's a lot of talented people out there. So it does saturate the market one way or another, which on one hand is a good thing because people are exposed to, like, they can find great artists of any discipline on YouTube with a click of a button. So they have all this access to art, but it's like Yeah. Anyways, it's just tricky for us, I guess.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and I wonder where we're going to be. I mean,
yeah.
like
I mean, I sort of have just decided to make peace as a young artist to make peace with the fact that I'm going to have to make high quality recordings my whole life and not expect to necessarily make money back from them. You know.
yeah. Yeah,
Except for
and
in the lesson fees I can charge for students and the concert fees I can charge for playing a live concert, because at least for now you can still charge money for a concert. That's still like possible.
yeah, I know,
So,
right?
so
Yeah.
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 I mean, COVID
Yeah,
aside.
and I think where I was going with Midnight Confessions was, just I didn't really have a roadmap. I just needed to kind of process and try and positively process all of the anger and frustration that I had with,
Mm,
racial injustice and the ineffectuality of the self-centeredness of the government at the time. And so I feel like, Midnight Confessions kind of became this kind of vehicle for writing music and improvising, and then fitting in some pieces, in between things, and then the election happened, and that's kind of like the end of one section. And it's kind of funny because I've been going back over some of the compositions and kind of surprised they're pretty angry.
yeah. Well, I mean, it would be hard not to be angry when you have 4 years of Donald Trump as president. I would find that difficult not to get angry.
Yeah,
So I don't
all
blame
right.
you. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, what I was thinking also was that, I mean, we were talking and you were like, "What you up to?" And I've got this CD coming out, but it's like, oh my god, who buys CDs anymore? And
Yeah, I mean, for me,
it
this CD production, that's why I've learned to do all the production myself. Like that Hey 2 recording on Spotify, I did it all myself. I put it out online. I have found a distributor who only takes a small portion of the streaming sales, which is like nothing anyways. Um, so I've always sort of, over the last 2 or 3 years, viewed it sort of developing the skills to record and produce my own relatively high quality content. I've viewed it as like an investment in my future because yeah, it's who buys CDs anymore? Like you're not gonna make much back from it. If you're lucky, if you print 500 CDs, if you're lucky, you might cover the printing costs and some of the licensing fees, maybe the artwork.
right?
If you sell
Yeah,
enough at
yeah,
concerts, if you perform enough to sell that much. But
yeah,
at the same time, like I said, if you're on Spotify, you are accessible to people who hear about you, and it's a way to stay in people's minds. So it might be kind
yeah,
of a harsh reality, but I just feel like it's sort of a CD is still a useful tool. It just doesn't necessarily make immediate cash. That's depressing to say, but
yeah.
anyways, sorry.
And do you use Bandcamp at all?
I haven't really, but I think I might do it with this one. As far as I know, you have to. Part of the appeal of Spotify, and one nice thing is that they pay the portion of your stream that's supposed to go to licensing directly to the composer. So you don't have
Oh,
to
okay.
pay for like licensing up front, because they're supposed to find the publisher of the composer and do it for you. So that is kind of nice. But with this CD, obviously, because I'm printing physical copies, I'm doing all the licensing myself and paying it all out of pocket and stuff. So Bandcamp might be a good idea because then I have the ability to sell it that way, right? So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I like Bandcamp a lot, I think.
yeah, they're good. Anyhow, I think we're getting off topic a little bit with this recording thing, but maybe we should play another one of the Midnight Confessions. I had here. Do you want to play one of your compositions, or do you want to play this Quinn Mason Nocturne? What do you think?
Oh, let's listen to Quinn's piece.
Okay.
He's a great young composer. We should check that out.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of him before, but I looked him up when I found this video, and I was curious: is this piece for guitar, or was it an arrangement of yours
It
also?
was written for it's a Sida Wells.
Oh, Sia Wells. Okay,
Uh,
she commissioned it.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah, yeah, and it's let's see. So, yeah, it was basically I just felt like where my programs need to be more diverse. So, and I was able to find him through Thomas Flippen, who's another great composer. Really like his writing too. Thomas is a classical guitarist, and he actually just became, I think it's called a Diodario Scholar. He's left his job at Concordia University, I think, to become traveling artist teacher. So and he'll teach at your school for free. Anyway, Thomas Flippin, you should check him out. But Thomas then introduced me to Quinn, and I went through his website and it was like, wow, these all look good. And he's actually a conductor, composer, um, and he was just recently in Seattle in January of 2019, conducting one of his own pieces. And I think he's like 22 or something like that.
Wow.
So he's just really accomplished young man that writes well. And so I came across these pieces. These were the most recent pieces at the time that he'd written, and so I bought them and learned them. So.
Cool. Yeah, I think this is the first Nocturne of his Nocturnes. So
so it'll be kind of
cool. Nice. Yeah, awesome. Let's listen to Quinn Mason's first Nocturne. Beautiful, short and sweet indeed. Very nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, some beautiful chords in there.
Yeah, it's a nice piece, and it's a nice kind of introduction to the second Nocturne, which is a little more kind of flowing. And the first one to me, it felt a little kind of like it was dealing with tragedy, and it was probably more me just dealing with the summer of 2020 with the murders and acknowledging the murders across the United States. Man, to me, I felt like it was a little bit like a saraband, even though it's in 4/4, but there was an emphasis on the second beat, and I feel like he covers a fair amount of territory in a modest number of measures, and then he goes into a more flowing piece. When I talked with him about it, he said he said he didn't want to be very specific, but it was mostly about experiencing conflict and then resolution towards the end, which
cool, beautiful.
I thought was a little
very apt for your Midnight Confessions too, in terms of what sparked them and what you're sort of working through with them. So beautiful.
Yeah, I'm thrilled to work with him. Been in touch with him through the year, performed it a few times.
Awesome. Why don't we listen to one of your compositions now, because we've talked about you composing, but we haven't shown your music on here. I really enjoyed the Somnambulant. What does this word even mean, by the way?
One who wanders.
The wander. It's like the wander trope, the wander fantasy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you want to say anything about this recording?
Well, this is a funny recording to me, because it is done in two parts. One was done during the Mid-Autumn Harvest Moon, so the full moon of October, and it's the biggest, to me it's always been the biggest moon of the year, because it comes so late and it just sits on the horizon like this big blood moon, and it's cool. And so I'm always excited about it. And of course this year, there were tons of clouds here in Seattle, and I'm sitting out there with my guitar on the side of a street waiting to play to the moon coming up and capturing this moment. And there are people walking by and they're just like, oh my God, who is this guy?
That's funny.
And so there's this kind of like, I don't know, just funny energy in a way. And laid down a couple of tracks that are these usual kind of mixed meter kinds of things that I do that I like, and I think that I posted something on the night of the full moon. It was keeping with the aesthetic of Midnight Confessions, which is, I'm going to create, and it's going to be what it is, and it's going to be a document of this moment, and this is what happened. So I did that, and then I came back to it, and I think what happened was, and I wonder if I should actually reveal this. This may not sound very good, but
we're all about controversy here on the Messy Desk, so.
Okay, well, I'm sure somebody's just going to say that guy's just so lazy. But what happened was a friend borrowed my guitar, and then it was just a student guitar, and he gave it back, and I opened it up, and it was really out of tune. And I was like, well, this is kind of cool. So,
classic, like, composer of contemporary music. Like, well, this thing is not what it should be. Let's make a piece out of it.
So I recorded, and I just kind of like listened very hard to like how out of tune it was. And then I just really leaned into like playing it out of tune and thinking, I think I was thinking that I was limiting myself to unisons and octaves, and then I think I eventually played a few perfect fifths. So I mean, it's very kind of microtonal in intention. And then I listened to it, and I'm like, well, this is cool, but it just needs a little extra spice. So I thought I went through videos, and I thought, oh, I'm going to put it over this, and I put it together, and it was like, yeah, that works. So
nice. Awesome. Wandering, traipsing through compositional methods. Yeah. I wonder what it says about me that this is one of the videos I listened to, and I was like, this is so cool. We should include this in the show. Meanwhile, it's just,
well,
I don't know.
No, and I love it. And so I actually revisited this idea because I just went up to this place called Kama Beach, and it's this set of cabins out on the water on Camino Island. And I'd just been working with drum machines, and I was thinking, oh, I'm gonna have this rockin' drum machine kind of thing. I can't remember what it was I did with the drum machine, but it wasn't the Sun Ra one, but it was something like that. And I get there, and they're like, lights out at 10 o'clock, and there are all these families, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna be like really, even with headphones on, I don't know I'll be doing with the rocking out thing. So what I ended up doing was recording the lapping ocean, and then trying to find the pitches, and then just work with those pitches. And I ended up working with basically tetrachords, and like playing with a lot of space, and trying to make for sure that there's room for something to happen in between it, but it is interesting on its own. And then I laid down like 6 tracks, and then I put together the 4 that I thought were the most interesting. So you end up with these kind of like Hocket rhythms and these accidental melodies that was, I think in line with kind of like, I don't know, Feldman or maybe Cage a little bit.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
or Radiohead,
or Radiohead. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Okay, awesome. We're going to listen to The Somnambulant by Mark Hilliard Wilson. Also, on your YouTube videos, you always put MHW by the ones, and I didn't know what that meant at first, and then I realized it was your initials. You should really put your full name there so people know that you're the composer.
Okay, I will.
I know you're probably trying to be modest, but it's just confusing.
Okay, I don't want to be confusing.
No. Beautiful and wonderful. Yeah, very cool.
Thank you.
Yes. Really cool. I just love hearing out of tune intervals. Makes me happy.
Yeah, it's just really an interesting kind of neat sound to just, sit and wonder, really, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, the only time I don't like hearing out of tune guitar is when I'm trying to tune a student's guitar over Zoom with them,
Oh my God. Zoom.
Tuning a kid's guitar is...
This is Zoom, but...
Yeah. It's hard enough in person, let alone over the internet, Anyhow. Ricardo Sayeb says, loved it. Sounded like blowhorns. Very nice. Definitely.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I like that image a lot. I have one where actually I'm playing Bach, a Bach minuet, I think, and it's a keyboard piece that's transcribed. I was kind of focused on keyboard transcriptions at the beginning of April, I think, and I have a video of the sea lions that are down on the water. And the sea lion actually starts going whoa, 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 whoa,
That's
perfectly
awesome.
in time at the end. That's so awesome.
Oh, I wish I'd pulled that one up for this. Tom Clippinger says, hey guys. Hey Tom, nice to see you. Alumni of the show as well.
Hey Tom.
And Tom is into weird new music, so this is just perfect for him.
Oh my God, Tom has an amazing project coming up.
Yeah, he's got a lot of amazing projects. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Tom is the best.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear what all the pieces that he's commissioned, and he's shown little clips on Instagram, and I mean, like, fascinating.
Yeah, super
really
cool
great
stuff. Sometimes I like to think that I enjoy playing contemporary music and I'm decent at it, and then I look at Tom's output and I'm like, right. By comparison, just the sheer amount that he plays is like mind-boggling. Even Lim is asking, how did you score that? I guess you didn't write this piece down, right, Mark? I mean,
no, I didn't. I mean,
it was improvised.
I think I could I could score the first part. That was I feel like that's kind of my bag of tricks in a way, this mixed meter kind of thing. And I could listen to that and probably figure out what things were. The second part was really me kind of following through with my interest and curiosity of the music of like Harry Parch, John Cage, and Morton Feldman, and the idea of that there's more to the sounds than the 12 notes of the Western scale,
Right. Yeah, indeed.
And, yeah.
Nice.
So I don't know how I would score the out of tune part right there. I think I'd have to look at what other people are doing and cultivate my own thoughts.
Yeah, I don't know how microtonal tuning is scored on guitar. Like, it's not exactly the same, but in this Jason Noble piece I play, Shadow Prism, there he tells you to tune certain harmonics to other harmonics, which normally you wouldn't use as tuning references, like the ninth harmonic and stuff. Which produces... Well, the reason he does that is because the piece is mostly harmonics. So what that means is when you play harmonics, they're perfectly in tune. But then when you play the open strings, there's like some sweeping and stuff. It sounds like slightly out, and it's really nice. But that's not really the same thing, because that's like a subtle, minute difference that sort of makes certain chords sound different, but it doesn't really... It's not the same as what this piece was. So... Yeah.
I'm the idea of being able to just kind of create music with the given parameters of opening up a guitar case really kind of was, I think, what was intriguing me at the moment, I guess.
Yeah, a new dimension of improvisation too is that like pitch has changed, and you can't change it back. Very cool. Now I guess we'll pivot from there, because you mentioned this time in April or so when you were focused on keyboard transcriptions. Is this where this Handel Bourret video came from? The same period, right? Or was that earlier? I have a video here. Number 44 was you playing Handel outdoors, and I was going to ask why you recorded outdoors, and also comment on the fact that so many of these videos have outdoor sounds in them, which I appreciate. So
that's definitely embracing maybe two different things, maybe the same thing. I think they're the same thing, which is really kind of digging into celebrating the moment. Like it's we only have this moment, and what's it going to be? And I want to celebrate the connection of music to the world. And so, uh, like he, like Cage said, he hears music everywhere. Like the sounds on the street. People want to shut the windows and shut that out so that they have their space. And he opens it up and listens to the music. And I use that as kind of a starting point to, um, you know, meditate on how what is the fabric of a piece of music connected to the sounds of the outside. The most important sounds, I think, like I think I don't think I said this on this. I was talking to you privately, but like at the beginning of the show, you played the Graham Cohen piece, that I play out on my front porch. I have new strings on. It's a little bit out of tune, um, but I was in a moment where I was playing and I could hear my neighbors having a conversation. And to me, that became this moment of beautiful synchronicity of their connecting in a time where everyone's wearing a mask and they have to wash their hands all the time, and it's just so hard to leave your house. I had my two neighbors, connecting out on the street and having this tone of a conversation that was really beautiful. I thought it wasn't about what they were saying. It was like what the vibe of the conversation was, and I felt like it really was exactly what Graham Cohen's piece, uh, "World of Infinite Design and Grand World of Infinite."
A closed world of grand
What is the
feelings and
title for
infinite
that?
design, something like that.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that is what that piece was. That
Mm-hmm.
was exactly it. So I've been leaning hard into that as the as well. And also, I mean, it's just nice to get out of the house. I mean, we've been in this pandemic and then winter, and I've been down in my basement, and I've had at December, January, and maybe February. Yeah, February. I mean, I was playing to a blank, cloth wall, and really making it about the guitar, and I have particular images for that. And as we've moved into spring, it's like I'm moving out more and really trying to celebrate the moving out. And what more better way than to just record and let whatever sounds happen. And there's the magic of the sea lions being in rhythm with the piece that I recorded at my house. There's the conversation of my neighbors. There's even the Doppler effect of cars going by, and that tail just kind of feeling like it's the conclusion of the piece in a way. It's
Mm-hmm.
something that I've been embracing with what I'm doing.
Cool. Why don't we listen to this Handel Bore then that you did outdoors? I thought it was a cool one. And
Okay.
also nice follow up from the weird out of tune contemporary music we just heard.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to listen to some Handel.
Okay.
Welcome. Well, we've just had some amazing thunder showers and lightning, and the sun has come out, and we're a little past the prime of the glistening of the light off of the water on the plants, but I thought I'd give a shot at coming out and playing a piece by George Frederick Handel. This is actually originally written for the flute with continuo, and I don't know who did this arrangement, but it's a piece that I really like a lot. It's a bourrée from a flute sonata in G major originally, but I think this is in B minor. So for the 41st Midnight Confession, let's have some Handel.
Wonderful. That was so charming. Very nice.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a sweet little piece.
Yeah, and I loved hearing the door knocking and the cars going by and the wind rustling through the leaves, and it's all part of the atmosphere.
Yeah,
Very
you know
cool.
what? That might be the very first one that I did that I recorded outside and just kind of,
Nice.
pondered it for a while and then moved more and more outside.
Hmm.
Um, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I
I
guess
should look at
300,
what number was that?
it says it's number 44, apparently.
So that would be back in November. That's interesting.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess
Huh.
365 videos in your basement would be a bit much of your basement. Maybe.
Yeah, I've really departed from where I was. I mean, yeah, and I haven't actually performed any of my own compositions for a while, and I've been following more themes lately. Like in February, I did only Black composers, Black History Month for April, March was International Women's History Month, so I only did women composers, um, and yeah, and it was interesting because it was kind of like when I started this in February for the Black History Month, I was like, oh my God, how many Black classical composers are there, and how am I going to do this? And and my scale for this has been another kind of really important um, thing to address, which is as a classical musician, I mean, like, how long does it take you to put together a program, and then how long do you play it? And I mean,
Hmm.
normally, I think it's like a year, right, to learn a program, and then you
Well,
ideally play it.
it's not that set in stone always, right? I mean, I guess yeah, you're right. We're trained to think in years in the conservatory, right? Because you learn a program, you do it for your exam or you do some competitions, then you move on to the next year and do the next thing. But I think it should be a lot more fluid than that. I mean, the pandemic has also changed my perception of what it is to learn music because I've been in this space where I'm not performing
Yeah,
live very much, but I'm doing a lot of recording, a lot of video production, audio production, and so you kind of also get into this stage where you like learn stuff really quickly and you maybe don't even learn it really as well necessarily because you're sort of editing it as you go, but you pay attention to certain details of sound that you might not otherwise. And I don't know, it's just a very different headspace, to be preparing things for a different reason.
yeah,
So, and
yeah, absolutely.
yeah, I don't know, but like how often should you learn a new program? I don't know. Different people are different, right? Some people play a new program every
Well,
month, it seems like.
with when the pandemic hit, my job as cathedral guitarist was going to evaporate, and because they're going to stop all services, and my job I was hired to play in between mass and a service called Taizé. And I thought, why, we don't need to have a lot of people there. Why don't we just have one person play in the cathedral and give it a shot? And so they opened up to the music director opened up to the idea, and I got to play my first concert in April of 2020. And then it was funny because I played all my rep, and I put together this program that was oriented around um, uh, actually fit in the Beatles, get by with a little help from my friends and
Nice.
old friends at the beginning, and yeah, that just did not go over well with the music director.
Nice.
You can play that profane popular music. But the thing was that I played Saras Verdad. At April that finished, it was big high. It was really neat. A lot of people actually tuned into it. And then May came, and it was like, well, what do I do? I've got to learn another program. And then, um, the interesting thing is, June came. We were supposed to do. I was given the theme of patience, and I'd worked on this program. I can't remember what the program was now, but spent a month learning 30 minutes of music for patience, and then um, George Floyd was murdered, and
Hmm.
I'm like, I'm not doing a program on patience.
Yeah, yeah, no kidding. Not the right time.
Nope. And and the next month was, interestingly enough, a program on justice, and I was like, I'm moving to justice. I'm going to move this program. Patience is going to be later, but not now. And so I had to learn a whole new program within 2 weeks, and I did arrangement of like We Shall Overcome, Did Quinn Mason's piece, Thomas Flippin's Vespers, Elegy by Brian Johansson.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I did the Black National Anthem, Lift Every Voice. I had to transcribe that too, which it's a hymn, but it's funny. It's Lift Every Voice and Sing, and people know it as a hymn, but Black people know it as the Black National Anthem. And so anyway, I that got me set on the path of learning a program every 3 to 4 weeks, really 3 weeks, because I'd take a few days off after learning. And the programs were very specific. It wasn't like, oh, what do I play? What can I put together? It was like, what is going to address the subject of social justice that is needed? What is going to address the insanity of the Trump administration? What is going to address, possibly global warming? So like in August, we had forest fires here that just blanketed everything. It was literally hell on earth. I mean, the world was literally on fire here. And when
I remember, this if like whenever this happens too in your era, when I was in Vancouver, whenever this sort of thing would start to happen, I know it was worse this time. We would just get all the smoke. BC also has forest fires like that, but it's such a weird experience when that happens, and you're just in the dark for like a week or whatever. It's crazy.
It's amazing. And I remember the first time we were that I experienced the forest fires. We were in Canada, in Vancouver, and there was this orange glow, and I'm like, wow, it's really beautiful. This is a unique moment. I'm gonna go out and walk in this. I got a block away from my in-laws' house, and I'm choking and coughing and spitting, and I'm like, what the hell am I doing out here?
Yeah.
And I go back in, and I look at the air index, and the air index was like, I don't know, it was like 350. It was just like, do not go out at all.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
Well,
but I want to finish.
Yeah.
Just to finish my thought. So I ended up learning a program every month, and that then got to the point where, it was in the middle of the summer. I started like thinking of posting every night. So it went from every month to every night. And then it bloomed into like, well, how long does it take to get something together, and what is this about? And so now I'm trying to figure out how long do I have to be able to do something, and trying to keep it at about 2 to 4 hours maybe a night. So anyway, okay.
That's amazing. I mean, that's super high amount of dedication. I mean, with this new channel I started with Steven, Resonant Connections, we try to get a video out every week, and that's hard enough. So yeah, kudos to you. What is next for Midnight Confessions and Mark Wilson in the coming months? What's next?
Well, so what is next is actually me having the space to go back and look at what I'm doing. And so I'm creating an index now. So I've got a blog, and you've got like a picture of the composer, and then a little blurb, and then a YouTube link, and you can go listen to me play the piece. I stopped talking probably at about January or so. I started just performing instead of giving it a long rambling intro. Now I'm able to have something where it's going to be a description of what the day was, what the name of the piece was that I chose to reflect the day, the date, and then the number of the confessions. And what's going to happen is that you're going to basically find an initial index of everything, but then I'm going to create probably a secondary index, which is like, if you would like to hear like all 9 of the Milan fantasies.
Oh yeah,
that's right here. If
you can do that on
Black History Month, all black.
You can do that on YouTube also. Pardon? with playlists.
Yeah, that's how I'm doing it. So right now my playlists are like 1 through 25, 25 through 50. But as I develop this, I think it's going to be more interesting to be able to say, this is this theme, and you can check this out. This is this theme, and you can check this out.
Yeah, I mean, on my channel, I have like a playlist that's all the contemporary music I play, and then a playlist that's all sort of Spanish music, since some people want to find that. So that's very helpful for people. And I think it's awesome that you're indexing it, because people deserve to be able to see the whole thing in a sort of organized format where they can explore it. Because I think the concept is so different than what a lot of people are doing with putting content out there, that like I think that's a great way to sort of get people to warm to the idea, and sort of as they go through them. I think as I was going through them preparing for the show, I was like, I mean, I'd sort of seen a few before and I'd listened to some and enjoyed them, but going through them more intentionally, I was like, oh, I see a lot of the sort of underlying themes here of why Mark's doing this and how he's doing it. And I think that's really valuable, that people can sort of explore it and see not just the recordings themselves, but sort of the hidden messages of Mark Wilson, as it were. So
yeah. Tell me what you're seeing. I'd be interested to hear.
Well, I mean, the thing I noticed was, first of all, the spontaneity. Secondly, I think the main overarching theme was that it was your response to events, and not just like political or social events per se, but just like whatever's going on in your life, whatever you're experiencing. Obviously, some of them are more introspective, some of them are more political or social commentary, some are more nostalgic for music that you maybe love or grew up with, and some of them are more like ode to a specific composer, or so it's just very interesting. And you can also kind of see in them where you're sort of pushing yourself and challenging yourself, and where you're like working from stuff that's very familiar, because obviously the Milan and the Handel and those things are things that are sort of like in your DNA from all your training and your years of practice, right? But there were also parts of this that are such new adventures for you, so I kind of appreciated seeing that, the interplay of those two things.
Cool.
Yeah,
I think it's important to allow mistakes, to a certain degree, I think.
I agree.
Not perfect. The piano transcriptions, the Stravinsky that I did, it's not perfect, but the video that I posted particularly, but there was something with the wind coming up and the Daphne, and just, I don't know. And it was, on my very personal level, it was absolutely freezing outside. I was just like shivering, and I'm like, I am living.
I'm alive. Yeah, I'm experiencing the real life. Yeah, crazy.
I got in real quick.
That's awesome.
But where I am right now with Midnight Confession is I'm just indexing things, and I think I'm going to focus on the music of Philip Quackenbush. So I think tonight I'm going to go through some of my favorite. I'm going to read through the Preludes and Fugues, and I'm going to choose one to post on that and celebrate that. So so thank you for asking.
Cool. That's awesome. Nice. Well, I think we're going to wrap up here because it's almost midnight in the Netherlands.
I can't believe we did this long. Thank you so much.
No, of course. I usually go for about 2 hours. It's all good. I'm up late anyways most nights, so it's not a problem. But if people have, there's still viewers. I can see all of you. If you have last minute questions for Mark or me, please put them in the chat now. Or if you just want to tell Mark how awesome he is, you can also put that in the chat. But I was going to ask, what do you think we should end on? We have here, we could do Simple Gifts. We could do What a Wonderful World. We could do Carcassi and the Reverend Davis.
Well, I chose What a Wonderful World because Biden won and democracy prevailed. And that was a big moment. I think I sound pretty good on that. The Carcassi and Reverend Gary Davis it's kind of an issue where I feel like, addressing the idea of what is a classical guitarist and the great American guitarist like Reverend Gary Davis, that it is classic music. It's classic roots American music, and I feel like that they are the same. So I don't know.
I was going to ask about the pairing of those two. Why the pairing? But I could play both. We could do Carcassi and Davis, and then do What a Wonderful World to close out if you want.
Okay,
that could work.
That'd be great. That'd be a nice close, actually. What a wonderful world.
We'll do it that way. Ivan Lim is saying this has been so illuminating. Definitely.
Thank you, Ivan.
And Ricardo Saib says, I really appreciate the beautiful sincerity of your project, Mark. Thanks for sharing. Definitely.
Thank you, Ricardo. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Hope to meet you guys.
Beautiful and sincere for sure. Definitely. 100%. And maybe if Mark can get off of his angelic pedestal, maybe we'll see Midnight Confessions on Spotify one day.
Yeah.
Just kidding. It's not going to happen.
Yes.
You can find it on YouTube for free anyway. So.
Yeah.
Okay, let's listen to Carcassi and Reverend Gary Davis, and then What a Wonderful World. Thank you, Mark. It's been awesome.
Cool. Thank you.
We're gonna close out on this. So, yeah. Sorry.
Oh, thank you for everyone for listening, and thanks.
Yeah, for sure.
This has been fun.
It's been wonderful, and I'm really happy I got you on here finally, because it feels a little bit like, coming full circle for me with meeting you at Guitar Fest West all those years ago. First time I went to a festival. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
Man.
What a wonderful world. Yeah.
Yeah. What a wonderful world.
Exactly. Okay, and I should mention for all the viewers, next week. Wait, let me check here. Next week there is no show. I have a weekend off from Messy Desk, just to relax, and by relax I mean record my CD. And the week after, on the 26th, I have Duo Hibla, which is Roberto Ganuso and Stefano Vivaldini from Italy. They're an Italian guitar duo, and Stefano's also a composer, and they produce some really, really cool videos, really cool transcriptions, and they're a wonderful duo, Italian guitar duo. So they'll be on the 26th. So don't tune in this upcoming week, but the week after, tune in for that. And I want to say thank you to Mark again for sharing. This has been wonderful.
Thank you.
And we're going to listen now to our Carcassi, Davis, and What a Wonderful World. Thanks, everyone.
Hello. And here we are again at midnight. I'm still doing this. I'm on the 63rd, I think, of the Midnight Confessions. And I have Carcassi and Candyman. Matteo Carcassi, the Italian guitarist from the 19th century, and the Reverend Gary Davis, the American blues guitarist from the mid-20th century. Here we go. Hi there, welcome to the 59th of my musical confessions. Midnight confessions, actually, that's what it is, but it's me sharing the day and music and what I can bring together, either that I've been working on all day, which I usually don't seem to do, because or just something I can bring together quickly. And so tonight I would like to share a piece that really reflects, I think, the wonderful feeling of this November 7th with the decision for the president. All right, what a wonderful world.